want to thank all the board members for arranging the schedule to be on this call. As you can hear, my voice is probably cracking a little bit, but it's too much talking to contract insurance people. Again, thank you for being on the call. This should be a very short call. We should beat all of Barney's records on this call, so it will go through it. What I'd like to do on this, being that we're not present, we don't see who's asking questions or voting, and the problem I usually have with telephonic calls is that people talk over each other, trying to figure out who goes next. So when we get to the motion part of it, what I'd like to do is I will just, once we get to the motion and the second and call for the question, then I'll just go through the list of people, the board members who are on the call, and ask for your vote one way or another. That way it gets recorded on the call and for the record.
Great.
So,
Ray, can you speak up? If there's any way you can speak up or, move your phone to where it could be louder. We're having just a little bit of problems hearing you.
All right.
That's better.
Is this better?
Yes.
That's better?
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm on my cell phone because we don't have internet service and some other things we don't have. But anyways, all right. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. The minutes from our last meeting will be discussed and approved or modified at our December meeting in Orlando. So there are no minutes that we will approve at this meeting. And the first thing we're going to do is public comment. If anyone, general public, would like to make a comment about any item, we're going to go ahead and open that up now. And please be prepared, because if I hear silence for a few seconds, we'll probably move on. So right now we'll open it up for public comment.
Any public comment, folks?
Hearing none, we will move on. Barb, I believe, is going to address our operating budget for 2019.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, the first item we would like to do is to discuss the consent agenda, and want to ask if there are any board members with any items from the consent agenda to be pulled from consent.
Okay. Any items to pull from the consent agenda?
We actually here at Florida Housing staff have one, and that is multifamily bonds item A.
And Mario, I'd like legal consent item F.
Legal consent item F pulled from the agenda. I also was going to mention about that one in just a moment as well, but we can have that one pulled from consent. Okay, so that's the one for Twin Lakes Estates Phase 2 is pulled. That one will be from our perspective. That one needs a little more work, and also the closing was delayed, as I understand it, so it can go to December. So it'll be hopefully put on the December agenda. And then I did want to mention legal items F and E, which Mario has pulled F. Both of those items are, to be clear, are second credit swaps, which are normally, they're pretty rare, I'll put it that way. But we want to just make sure that everybody was aware that those are credit swaps being done for the second time.
Okay, is that it? We've got multifamily bonds item A, legal item F, or E and F. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not recommending that E be pulled from consent. Mario is recommending that F be pulled from consent.
You were just commenting on E?
Correct. Yes, just making sure everyone was aware that those are second credit swaps.
Okay.
So Trey, do you want to discuss this now? You said, excuse me, you said it's going on the December meeting.
Yeah. Okay, Mario, is that you?
Yeah, it's Mario.
Okay, yeah, and I'd ask that when board members speak, it'd be best if you could identify yourself just real quick.
Okay.
So his question was, do we want to do those items now? We're available to do that. We can. It's up to the chairman. Chairman, do you want to go ahead and discuss those, the legal items now?
Legal item F?
Yeah, legal item F from consent. Okay. That's you.
In this meeting, yes, but let's wait till we get done with the action items.
Okay, all right.
Then we'll pull out and do it.
Okay, we'll do that before the...
Now, let me ask, this is Ray. Now, multifamily bonds item A, you're moving to December, is that what you said, because it needs more work?
Yes, sir. That will likely be moved to the December meeting.
Okay. So the only one we really need to discuss is legal item F, and we'll do that. We'll do that after we get the action item done, before we vote on the consent agenda.
Okay, that works.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Are we ready for Barb?
I think we are.
Sure. Thank you, Mr.
right.
Chair, and thank you, Board.
Say your full name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Barb Goltz, CFO, Florida Housing. This year we're doing it a little different since we canceled the meeting and have this telephonic meeting. What we're going to do is still give you plenty of time to look at the budget. It'll be coming to you early next week. You will get a full package of all of the details of course, each line item in the budget, as you can see it in the typical format that we provide to you. Then we'll be giving you some additional sheets that have details on them. We will have our assumptions and also some additional narrative that we'll get to you in writing. It'll be a full package of information. And then, of course, my information so that you can contact me either by email or by phone over the course of basically the next 6 weeks until we get nearer to the December board meeting. So expect that package. It'll be a rather lengthy package, but typical of what you've been getting in the past, and then you can use that to contact me with any questions that you have.
Okay, is that it, Barb?
That's it, other than to say that, of course, in December, the purpose of that, presenting it at that meeting as an action item is to approve it prior to January 1st so that we can then begin the year with an approved budget.
Okay, so we will vote on that at the meeting. So please be ready to vote, board, once you get it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Barb. Trey, are you now going to give us an update on Hurricane Michael recovery?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for the record, this is Trey Price, the Executive Director here at Florida Housing. Wanted to give you all a quick update in regards to Florida Housing's role in Hurricane Michael. Of course, the storm hit us on October 10th in Bay County, and we were forced to postpone our meeting, and we're having this meeting instead. We're hoping to get back to Panama City in 2019. You know, our board approved the 2018 operating budget, which included expenses for that Panama City board meeting. And due to the extensive damage in that area, we're now having this meeting. Florida citizens were impacted by this massive hurricane and continue to need relief and rebuild their homes, lives, and businesses. Our thought here and in discussion amongst the staff was to bring a recommendation to you all to authorize the expenditure of up to $5,000 not spent on the board meeting for hurricane relief in the Panhandle to the state-sanctioned Florida Disaster Fund that is administered by the Volunteer Florida Foundation. So we wanted to bring that recommendation to you all today for discussion purposes.
Okay, so we will need a motion to do that.
So move.
This is Ron Lieberman. I make a motion to spend up to $5,000.
Okay, we have a motion from Ron to spend up to $5,000.
And from Rainier.
Rainier seconds. Okay. Great.
Barney here. Trey, I'm not familiar with that organization or what you're proposing.
Yeah. Sorry. So this is the state essentially the state administered Florida Disaster Fund that Governor Scott has publicized, and you've probably seen a number of different organizations and companies like Walt Disney World, St. Joe, and others make pretty large donations to this fund. It's essentially the state-sanctioned disaster fund.
What do they do with the money?
They administer the state-sanctioned aid to the to the folks. I mean, this is they give out the water and at the points of distribution.
Thank
so
you.
they're giving out supplies and stuff, not cash, right?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Well, I tell you that just from going through this, as some of you have in other parts of the state, it's been a godsend to have people, there to do food. So.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and go down the roll. Has Natasha or Creston, have you gotten on the line since we started?
Yes, I'm here, Creston.
Creston's here. Okay, great. Thank you for coming on. All right. So I'll just go down as Sheila called the roll. If you would just say yay or nay. Ron?
Yay.
Natasha's not here. Renee? Yeah. Renee?
Can't hear you. Hello?
Hello. Renier?
Yay.
Yes. You guys hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay.
I vote yes.
Renier's yes. All right. Renier's yes. Mario?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Julie?
Absolutely yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, is that it on Hurricane Michael recovery, Trey?
Just real quickly, we wanted to mention to you all that we began to get SHIP money into the local government housing trust funds, and we made it a priority to allocate those monies to the affected counties first. So they have already received their SHIP money and can move ahead with reconstruction with the SHIP money. In this year's budget, the current year's state fiscal budget, they also included $5 million in set aside for disaster relief for SHIP. We are going to need a little bit more data from FEMA before we make that allocation, and we have some thoughts about that. But we also have that $5 million that is set aside that we can move forward with and plan to in the near future. Then I didn't know if our Director of Asset Management, Laura Cox, she could also give you all a brief overview of the damage to our portfolio from Hurricane Michael as well.
This is Laura
Okay,
Cox.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Chair. This is Laura Cox of the counties affected. Florida Housing has 68 developments. We conducted a damage assessment of all properties in that area. We had 8 that had displaced residents, and that's a total of, currently there's a total of 428. We had 1 in Jackson County where they evacuated all 76 elderly residents because they had no electricity. Electricity's been restored. Those folks are back in their units. Of those other 7, we had 2 that had moderate damage, a total of 280 units, 34 were displaced. The remaining 5, all residents were displaced. We have 394. Some of them are in, one of the owners had some resort property. They found some places there for some of those folks. One of the owners had property in Tallahassee, and they're using the revenue procedures that the IRS has authorized to move those folks up to properties in Tallahassee, and others have found their own housing or are still searching. But so far we still have 428 displaced. And that's all.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Yeah, I've heard some stories of the properties, what the developers or managers are doing to help those, and I really want to, if there are any of them on the line, thank them for everything they do, because I think they are trying to take care of the tenants. They're not just saying, hey, you got to get out, period. They're doing some things for them, so thank you to them. Okay, if that's it, we'll move into the professional services selection. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kevin, is he going to do item A?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you
go
hear me?
ahead, please. Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Board. This is for approval of request for qualifications for RFQ 2018-09 for trustee services. At the July 27th, 2018 meeting, the Board authorized Florida Housing to solicit to procure one or more qualified firms to provide trustee services. The RFQ was subsequently issued, and a copy of the RFQ is provided as Exhibit A in the report package. 4 responses were received. Each member of the review committee individually reviewed the proposals, and at the September 19th meeting, the review committee members provided their final scores or responses. The score sheet is attached as Exhibit B to this presentation. The staff recommendation is the review committee recommends that the Board authorize Florida Housing to enter into contract negotiations with all 4 respondents, BNY Mellon, U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, and Wilmington Trust.
And Kevin, can you just identify yourself real quick so that it's on the record?
Sure. Kevin Tatro, Director of Multifamily Program.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a recommendation from staff. Do I have a motion from the Board?
This is Barney, so moved.
Okay, Barney moved. How about a second?
This is Mario. I'll second.
Okay, great. If there's any further discussion, hearing none, I'll go down the roll again. Ron?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Renier?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Creston?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Barney?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm a yes on that. This is ready for you. All right. Okay, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Item B, I believe, is Nancy.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chairman and board members. I'm Nancy Muller, Policy Director at Florida Housing. At the last board meeting, I spoke to you about the High Needs, High Cost project. We're here again, but this time focused on a contract extension for one of the 3 pilots participating in the project. Each of the 3 pilots committed to partner with researchers to carry out a multi-year study to quantify cost-benefit data to show what, if any, public savings occur as a result of housing these high-needs, high-cost folks in permanent supportive housing. In 2015, the board approved the award of a grant of up to $50,000 in match funding to each of the 3 developments to assist each with the cost of its research. And as a reminder, those and we have contracts with each for that funding. The grants require each entity to use other funds on a 2-to-1 basis. So for every dollar of this funding, $2 of other funding, and typically they've raised other funds in order to pay for the research. As I said, each of the developers has signed a contract for this purpose. The current contract with one of the developers, Ability Housing Incorporated, to fund the research is set to expire at the end of this year, and additional time is needed to collect data and develop a final report. Contingent upon satisfactorily performing its obligations under the grant determined by Florida Housing, this contract may be renewed once for an additional 1-year period. Abilities work on the pilot research is satisfactory, moving along very well. Thus, staff recommends that the board directs staff to proceed with the one-year renewal option.
Okay. Do we have a motion for staff's recommendation?
This is Mario, motion.
Renier,
Barney, second.
Okay, I think Renier got in there first, so we'll have him second. And, all right. Okay, any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I will go down the roll again. Ron?
Yay.
Okay, Renier?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Latasha?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
And I'm yes on that one also. Okay, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Okay, now, as was commented at the beginning of the meeting, there are two items on the consent agenda that are being pulled. Multifamily bonds, item A, is actually being pulled by staff and moved to possibly to the December meeting. And legal item F, Mario requested that we pull that one. So, Mario, if you want to discuss that one, I guess that's the appropriate way to do it.
Yeah.
Staff is
Okay.
prepared to discuss this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Mario.
All right. Go ahead.
So I just had a couple of questions with regard to this one. It looks like it's going on with this extension. It would be 3 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is Kevin Taken. That would be correct.
Okay, and then I was reading here that some of the delay is regarding procuring a construction contract. Within, I guess, TDC limits. Can you kind of expand on what those limits are?
Certainly, Kevin Pater again. So each RFA that we issue has a limitation on the total development cost that can be incurred without having a negative impact on the developer fee. And if you exceed by more than 5% after any possible adjustments, then the staff has an automatic negative recommendation for board approval. And on this one, they have gone through 4 general contractors in an attempt to get a contract in today's environment that is within those limitations that were most recently approved by the board in June. As an update, the staff is recommending this approval in light that it appears as if they have their 4th GC under contract and construction is imminent, and the recommendation includes basically a 6-month extension to get them required to start construction.
Okay. Yeah, because my concern is that I'm seeing, costs going up, 10, even sometimes 15%, and I'm just wondering, I'm glad to hear that you think that they have a secure contract with the GC that will meet the limits. But at the same time, I guess I would be supportive of, one more extension here, but I just think construction costs are kind of running away, and I'm just wondering if they'll be coming back anytime soon. So if they have the GC under contract and you think that this is going to actually close, then I'm supportive of it.
Thank you.
Okay, does that get all your questions handled?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and try this one differently. Let me just ask, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We actually need a motion first.
Aye.
Sorry, we actually
You
need a
need
motion.
what now?
We actually need a motion first, Chairman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So moved.
trying to beat that deadline. All right, Latasha moves, is that correct?
Renier seconds.
And Rainier seconds, okay. Very good. Okay, now let's try it again. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none opposed, let the record show that all board present were in favor. Did I hear somebody say something? No. Okay. Very good. All right. Now we're moving to approve the consent agenda minus multifamily bonds item A and legal item F, which we just approved on their action. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
This is Ron. I make a motion.
All right, Ron made motion. Any, who seconds?
It's Mario, I'll second.
Mario second, okay. We'll do this one the same way. All in favor of the consent agenda minus the items we discussed, please say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. All right, any opposed? Hearing none opposed, please let the record show all board members present approve the consent agenda minus those two items. Okay. Any additional comments for the good of the order from the board or the staff?
Well, thank you all for your accommodation. We appreciate you calling in today and accommodating the reschedule of the meeting.
And,
Thank
and
you, Trey.
Let me go ahead and pass along my thanks for those of you that expressed concern for what took place in the Panhandle of Florida. Now I know what y'all have gone through in the south part of the state, and it's not fun. So thank you very much again for your support, for your work on Florida Housing Board. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Enter *1 to stop. Enter *1 to stop recording the conference. The conference is no longer being recorded.
10:30. That's good. Thanks, Sheila. I think that went pretty good.
Well, I'm glad Mara's questions were what they were.